Hey, good afternoon. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Old Black Men Conversations. My name is Brother David Harold Dudley III, aka Sweet Sunny D. Uh, you are?
Hey, I'm Gary. I'm your personal street philosopher. And after we do the intro, some of you have asked what does that mean. I'll explain it to you, but right now I'm going to hand it off to the real Cliff Barnes.
Hello, I'm the real Cliff Barnes. Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. And, well, hell, I'm at that age where it's good to be anywhere. So, anywho, we are here to discuss what's going on in the world, or what's even better, what's going on in our heads.
Get out of my head, man.
I'm just saying,
There ain't room enough for the five of us to sorry.
I know what you're saying, because a lot of times I channel a bunch of people that I don't even think are in my mind. So anyway, we were discussing earlier a little bit about the riots that are going on in major cities and smaller cities in America.
I think what's happening is the riots always seem to get painted as a bad thing, but this is a good thing because this is about the right to protest and the right to have an idea and without persecution. And what's happening now is this despicable guy who is our president has totally stepped on the Constitution. He stepped on people's rights, and he just wants to dictate.
It seems as though that is the case. The last time people remember where the federal government called out a state's reserves was in the 60s in Alabama. So basically, usually a governor of a state and or mayor determine whether they want the National Guard and the reserves or whatever to come in. The federal government is usually out of it. He's always on this, well, let the states take care of it, but he steps right in at the first sign of trouble, I guess, And the people are saying, well, there's thousands of LA police and I think 9,000 in the sheriff's department, so they said they had it under control, and they're pissed at him for that. My question is, why wasn't he doing that on January 6th? But that's another issue.
Because those were peaceful people who didn't mean to hurt the cops.
They didn't mean to destroy the Capitol.
Yeah, they didn't mean to. No. They were misunderstood.
Of course.
So, make America what again?
White,
Okay.
But these people,
January 6th.
These people are, dealing with the immigration. It's like people are afraid to go to work because, the ICE agents are around. And they had a video on earlier today where there was one unmarked car behind the people and then another one, and they just jammed them right in there and took the dude and left the family in the car. And who's next? Is it old people? Is it it's already poor people. So who's next?
They've already have some cases, and I don't know why it didn't make the news as much as it did, where they rounded up not just Latinos or Mexicans or Venezuelans, they rounded up like Native Americans. Just because you got that look, I guess. It's very sad.
Which is pretty weird because they were here before all of us.
Hey, but they're not a part of making America again.
Yeah, well,
But you got the look?
Which one? The Indian look? The Mexican look?
I don't know.
The David Harold Dudley, don't call me black, I'm mocha colored look.
That's it. What is violence? What is violent? what is violence? What is a riot? What the hell are we talking about here? When you say people are rioting in the streets, what the fuck does that mean? What is a riot?
What was a riot when you did it?
I can't speak for everybody else. I was throwing rocks and shit and throwing illegal items.
Ain't that what's happening in LA? They throwing rocks and shit. That sounds exactly what's happening.
Well, but
Well, I mean, obviously you mean a different point. I'm just trying to.
So what you mean? What determines a riot? As far as I know, the media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to agree.
You know, I mean, there's times where there's been just a few people of color just standing around kicking it, and all of a sudden, here come some authority, jumps in the mix, and all of a sudden now, them 7 people, that was a riot. So, I mean...
But I think I agree with you, like, what's a riot?
Yeah.
In this particular instance,
Mm-hmm.
you have an agency going around kidnapping people
Right.
and people standing up to that. Is that really a riot, or is that people just being like, hey, you can't kidnap us?
yeah,
people-
right, and I have to wonder if it was us
Mm-hmm.
instead of who it is, even though they're not the majority.
Right.
If it was us instead, wouldn't the reaction be different as it was for those on January 6th?
Well, of course it'd be different. You haven't heard of one person getting shot.
Whoa, Gary, my spirit animal right now. I've been thinking for weeks, how has nobody been shot? None of these cops.
Yeah.
You got to be careful what you say online. But I mean,
Yeah.
how I get put in that circumstance. Now, again, I'm not in that, and I'm thankful for that. But put in that circumstance where I know I can just be walking down the streets and get abducted, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
Right.
I'm gonna have that thing on me. Somebody catching a hot one. I'm just like, I don't understand how that hasn't happened.
Well, hey, you know that is very strange because back in the day that kind of was pretty much frequent.
It was, and it was an aura. I mean, I lived further south than you guys did at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really weird to walk outside and feel like you're in the country, and yet you feel unsafe because that patrol car would come slowly past you and look at you like, what the hell are you doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is a totally different feeling from today even.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, back then there wasn't a lot of us that was living in a suburban atmosphere. Most of the black people.
Well, we weren't in a suburban area. We were on 4463 South Morgan.
That's still hey.
So that's
But-
what you
but
consider
in those-
back in the day. Though.
But in those
Oh, I
days,
thought you were going further. When you say back in the day, I'm thinking
but back in those days,
you're going further back.
in those days, that was still far.
Yeah.
That was out of the red line area.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was actually within the red line area because that's why we were the only blacks there. Because it was in that area, and my dad happened to be a Mason. One of his brothers got him, one of his Caucasian brothers got us into that house.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the neighborhood was totally white. And
But that's what I'm saying, yo. There wasn't any blacks that far south at that time.
Yeah.
You know, most of the blacks were concentrated in the central area.
Or you have to jump to Renton. There are a few in North Renton.
Yeah, a few, very few. But you know, I remember when out as far as 125th going north,
Yeah.
you know, by
Parker's.
Ingram and Nathan
Oh, yeah,
Hale,
yeah,
around
yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
until the 60s maybe was the only time there was just a few black people scattered around that area. And, we probably knew the only two black students at Nathan Hale or at Ballard or, you know what I'm saying?
Or Roosevelt,
Yeah, so things had changed, and then they tried that it's not busing thing.
Yeah.
So,
it's only one way.
But things were different as far as what was going on. There was not people afraid to go to work then, because when they get off or go out for lunch, they could be kidnapped, and nobody knew where they were. That was, very rare in our day.
You brought up a good point. What is your definition of a riot, or what you're seeing now on TV? What would you call the counteraction to the illegal operation that the government is putting down on innocent people?
I believe it's inaccurate to say the government is doing this. It is, in my opinion, one entity that has seized, and I do mean seized, the country by the throat. And it's strangling the people. But the people have started to kick. They're not fighting back yet, they're just kicking. They haven't gotten to the point where they're going to actually fight the power. They're not there yet, because you gotta damn near step on their neck and crack their neck in order for their constituents to rise up.
And you have to remember, while these people are demonstrating in the streets, the kidnapping's still going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like these guys are, we got this curfew or whatever the hell they're trying to say, and you can't do this, and these guys are throwing rocks and throwing bricks and fireworks and what have you. But in the meantime, while all this is going on, National Guard, these people are still literally being kidnapped, taken off their job, taken out their houses. Taking off, they're walking down the street, snatch them off the street.
I disagree with that, in that when you say someone is kidnapped, that implies that there's going to be, when they are brought back, there's going to be some justice going on, and their kidnappers are going to go to jail, or at least stand trial. So you can't, to me, you can't call it kidnapping, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's your definition.
Yeah, I was about to say, I see what you're saying. The only thing is, just because you define it differently doesn't change what happened. If somebody was there and somebody came and stole you, took you without your permission,
people are taking
that
it
is
against your will.
identified as kidnapping. Now you have the things that come after the act of kidnapping. Be like, okay, I want this, and you'll get back safe, and then be like, okay, that makes it kidnapping. No, that means you paid a ransom and got back, but you were still kidnapped, even if you get killed. Like, you were still taken. So I don't. It seems like you don't like the definition of the word, or like, what's your problem with the word kidnapping?
It implies that something, once that situation is resolved, that resolving the situation is the people that did it, the kidnapping, are going to be punished in some kind of way.
Yeah, but that's assuming there is a resolve.
Right.
There doesn't have to be a resolve to anything. There could be an action and no resolve to it.
In fact,
I get like maybe on natural progression in our mind, well, this is what's supposed to happen, but that's not reality. The reality is somebody can take you, nobody could ever see you again. You were still kidnapped, even if you never come back or never. I don't know. I see what you're saying, except I don't. I'm like, no. Action is still the action, regardless of what happens afterwards.
We could change the wording and say taken against their will.
taken against their
But the
will.
whole point is, they, what they call it, kidnapping, taken against your will,
You stole them, whatever.
whatever you want to call it, it's still happening in spite of the fact that these people are demonstrating. If we don't want to call it rioting, the demonstration started out peaceful, and then folks started setting shit on fire, and throwing rocks and bricks and what have you.
You know what? For me, I'll stand firm on not being sure about things, because it's very easy to talk and say what we would do if we were in that situation, blah blah blah. Like I said earlier, thank God I'm not.
Yes.
But half of my mind, for these folks in California that are protesting against what's going on, in my mind, I'm like, it seems that you would be more effective if when they go and grab somebody, y'all jump on their ass.
And try to grab them back.
Now, that's what seems like an effective strategy in my mind, but if I was there, I'm thinking, or I'm wondering, would I actually want to jump in and intervene? I mean, on a physical level, yes, mentally you want to help, but on a physical, boots on the ground, they got guns. Now, there are more of us than them, but,
Still and all.
So, anyway, I just put that out there because that's a real side of life, too. I'm all for fight the power. When you got to physically fight yourself, it makes you do a double take.
I mean, hey.
Slavery.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, in our time, there's been a lot of fighting police and fighting state troopers and whoever the hell was out there. But the whole point is, if at any given time, it could have been Kent State.
Again,
I mean, that threat was there, but we had, I don't know, laws, protocol, whatever, to prevent that mass murdering from happening.
Well, something doesn't seem to get discussed enough for me, but we've seen years of this. In the daytime, the protests will be peaceful and honorary. But when the sun goes down, that's when shit starts to happen. But what they have found over the years, these anarchists,
Yes.
who are funded, they have money, come in, they got all the shit on you can't tell it's them. Do the shit, break the windows, and the protesters get the blame for that because
Very true.
nobody's going after the anarchists.
But there was times,
Or talking about the anarchists.
but there was times when we were protesting, demonstrating, we policed ourselves.
Yeah.
Where if you saw a motherfucker getting ready to do something stupid that's counterproductive to what we're about, they got jumped on, carried away.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen several times in, demonstrations and protests that we were at. Now, these guys just come in and they're dressed all in military-looking gear and shit, and it's like, nobody does a thing. Nobody, because it's, people are out there with their families and stuff. When they had that Capitol Hill thing, CHOP and all that bullshit, when there was no policing of ourselves, as opposed to, where the cops just came down and whatever, because there was video where you seen somebody way in the back of the crowd throw something at the police, and the people right here got the brunt of the reaction. So,
Because these anarchists anarchists have learned how to blend in. They've got videotapes of these guys
Oh yeah,
changing clothes
They do.
so they blend in. And then
They do that.
And that's what happened on January 6th.
I mean, so you're saying January 6th was not a quote unquote
I'm saying,
riot or
I'm saying they use the same excuse.
Sure, that's what they said. But like I say, if
Okay.
you're watching film of the stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and then the thing is, you know, it was handled different. It was, you know, just a few people started, and then mob mentality took over. That's what they, you know, that's what they say. It's a few people started, and then everybody wants to do it now.
Because, I mean, let's face it, the demographics of people that watch the news is not us. Otherwise, we would see stories a lot different. You turn on the news, and I've done this once, counting how many times when somebody will have committed a crime, how many times they show the face of somebody black versus somebody white. I mean, what, they go out of their way.
I see that one guy all the time.
Which one?
The one black guy.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but you know he's they pass him around from courthouse to courthouse.
I can't
Or
tell
he
you
drives
you're
from
joking.
courthouse. Or he drives from courthouse to courthouse. He's always at all the Trump shit.
Oh, that guy
Yeah.
with the cowboy hat in the front row?
Sometimes, yeah,
Sometimes he's always in the.
Well, wait
You
a
know.
minute. No, okay, I that's not. I was saying somebody accused of something.
I'm accusing him of not being black.
That's a different show, man. Okay, you threw me off, man.
No, it was you know. You gotta
Go ahead, I'm listening.
you gotta kind of know this person
I thought I did, man.
and what.
Who are you? I thought I knew better.
These things happen, you know. But the thing is, over the years, I've been able to like hop on the train before it passes completely by,
Okay.
and then I can kind of realize where he's going, and so you know.
So
But yeah, there's.
I have an issue with another thing you said. You said it's not the government. Who is the leader of the government? The one person. Who is that?
We the people hereby ordain
Oh God.
our Constitution.
We'll be back after this message from non-secretary. Okay, you lost me again, man. Okay. You said it's not the government.
People are supposed to be
Supposed.
the government.
Supposed to. That
Supposed
was not the question. See, I knew that's where you was going. I was like, no, you dodging the question. Who
No,
is
we were talking
not
about-
supposed to be? Who
We
is?
was talking about the one person who has in a
Absolute
sense-
power, the dictator.
In a sense, he
He
has
thinks he
usurped a
wants
lot
to.
of power.
Yeah.
He's usurped a lot of power from the people and used it against the people. And that would be, well,
In my
That
humble
maniac.
opinion, he hasn't usurped the power from the people.
he's some
He
of it.
has turned the people against the people, using the color of your skin, the status of your
The language you speak.
religion, the whole night. He's done all of that.
Yep.
That's where we're at, I think, and that's what's causing all the problem because nobody wants to say stop.
People have said stop. It has been
The
ineffective
wrong
and
people
ignored.
are saying stop.
Who are the right people? To say stuff.
Yeah.
And
Otherwise, it would have stopped long time ago.
If each of us had a tank in our basement and
What power do we have to
bazookas.
accomplish that?
yeah, I mean, where's the military backup to accomplish that?
Accomplish what?
What you just said.
To take back the
We
power.
have
You said the
power.
black people have the power. The power to
Oh,
do
no,
what?
no. I was pointing to skin, not us.
Wait, what?
What? Say it again.
I was referring to skin color.
Right.
So, okay, I guess we all assumed because we're all black and only black people do this. Guys, only black people, when referring to themselves, do this. So I'm sorry to look at you crazy, but we all assumed you was talking about black people.
Okay,
Right.
I wasn't. I was trying to avoid saying it, but white.
Doesn't matter.
Wait, oh, so you meant white people?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm completely lost now. Okay.
Well, try this next time.
Okay.
Us. Us.
Okay, just so you're saying that white people
should
need
get,
to,
should get more in the mix.
do they got tanks? I got a bunch of white neighbors. I ain't seen a tank. I seen an Amazon van or two. I ain't seen no tanks.
I seen a person living on the lake with a seaplane. That's everybody else got boats and mini yachts and shit, and this guy got a seaplane, but that's still not like, I mean, that means he has monetary wealth, but I don't know what kind of power that he would yield or a bunch of
Let
people like him.
let me ask this. I think because so you're saying, okay, where was the genesis of this? Who has the absolute power,
Right.
and how do you change that? You're saying white people, right?
Right.
Okay. Now let's just assume we can walk down this path and get a result. What is it that the white people should be saying, and who should they be saying it to, and what do you think the outcome looks like? Because that's what I mean. I thought about.
I think we're where we're at because we're here. If that makes any sense.
No, I'm not gonna let you just go past that. We're at where we're at because we got here.
Once again, we're here because we're here.
I think you.
We're here
And everywhere you
because
go, there you are.
we're here because of the way the people voted.
Sure, certainly.
Okay.
Half of them, more than half.
Maybe yes, but also if you track it back to Bush, did he really win that election? Then start looking at elections. You say it's because of the elections and how people voted that we got here. Yeah, but you could dive into that and say, well, because of the elections and how messed up everything was is why we got here. So I think let's not dive into the backstory. We're just here. Life happened and we here.
Yeah, we're here.
What happens now? Like in your mind of the white people speaking up.
What would need to be done?
Excuse me.
There has to be a complete turnaround in the Caucasian community as far as right and wrong, left and right, because there is no balance.
There's no checks. and
Well, I mean, there
balances.
never was.
Yeah, I'm telling you a time when there was balance. There's never
Right.
been balance.
And,
And I think that what you said between right and wrong. It's I believe that there are universal things that I think everybody should look at as that's right and that's wrong, but that's not the case. It's just not. And I know I just created this reality world like, okay, if things, we can put them how we want, what would happen? But the reality of the situation is somebody may think something is right in their spirit, but it hurts another group of people. But they don't see that. And it's like, and not even a blame thing of like, that's not their world. it doesn't exist to them. Your feelings don't exist for whatever reason.
Yes.
So when we say right and wrong, that's a moral thing, that everybody's morals are different. That's never going to be a reality.
It depends on your definition of right and wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Now,
It
if you get
always
people
does.
to sign up and be like, I'm going to sign up for these rights
Right,
and
yeah.
these wrongs, then you can have something to go off. But
Right.
people, and you know this as well as anybody, people absolutely reserve the right to change their mind. I felt that way yesterday, but I don't today.
Well,
I don't
hey,
need an explanation. I just don't feel that way. And then you go with the people like, nah, because I remember your past, so I don't. Now that's a whole new thing
But you,
blowing up to be a problem because I don't believe you changed.
and you still you have people right now that are saying, "Oh, this is not what we voted for."
Oh, yeah.
They were bamboozled.
Yeah.
You have
We
a
like to
lot
call
of
them
people-
just dumb. We be
Yeah.
like, how you not see that?
How didn't you see?
But
Right.
there are people like, I
Right.
didn't see it.
And one of the representatives of, I think, of the Latino coalition, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's like, no, this is not what we voted for. How could you not see that before you voted? How could you not see? You had 4 years before Biden of this maniac, and you had that. You saw what he was doing and what he was planning on doing. Then 4 years later, you forgot. Now all of a sudden, he's like changed.
Well, he's not talking about us. He's talking about those illegal immigrants.
No, but
He's
what
not-
I'm saying
we
is,
came here illegally,
But
but-
what I'm saying is, the Trump supporters. There still seems to be a lot of them.
There are.
But there's still a lot of people that are looking at this and saying, "Oh, if I would have known this was gonna happen, I wouldn't have voted that way." You know, kind of like if I'd have known it was gonna be a flat tire, I wouldn't have came.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's too many people, in my opinion, that was bamboozled and, as you say, just fucking dumb.
But they were
And the
born.
flat tire was a true story,
That's
by
a
the
true
way, because
story.
it was snowing.
Yes,
Hey.
that's right.
That's-
But
yeah.
But hey, hindsight is always, you know,
always,
it's like,
always, it's 20, it's
it's like
2020.
after the events happens, you look back and you see all the red flags back there, like, dang,
damn.
why didn't I stop?
Why didn't I do? No, it's like it's too late.
And so
You know?
with that, you know, I think that's the world that we live, or this is the world that we live in. It's
Absolutely.
different people, it's different mindsets, different feelings. Everybody's not going to feel the same, and it seems to me, you know, I'd be on the fence as far as people doing like protests for these big things that like say right now ICE and the whole thing. That's a problem, and people are protesting against it, and I agree with that. But on the other hand, it'd be like, you know what? This ain't a new fight.
No.
Maybe it's a new fight between these particular people, but this is not new. All of this shit has been happening since way back when. And we're just fighting and constantly because we don't get along, and we have to argue about how we need to get along and how we need to all believe the same thing. And we don't. And it just seems to me that we put so much effort into trying to change people's minds
Exactly.
when it's like, on the one hand, I'd be like, yo, we just go, what do you call that? Separatism, you know,
Separate but equal.
segregation.
Segregation.
You start thinking about, well, why not? Because, you know, because of all these different things. But even in that, then it breaks down, okay, let's segregate. You got the blacks over here, but the black people don't all get along.
But
We
you-
don't all believe the same thing.
But-
I don't want to live next to niggas.
I don't want to be next to light-skinned people.
But you also have to remember.
If they're good people.
But you also
But they're
have to
light-skinned.
remember. There's people. There's a bunch of different
Yeah.
factions. You have people that are okay. They're taking all of these Latino people. ICE is doing this, but then you still have people that are still fighting Palestine versus Israel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bigger
then,
than us.
Then you also have
Years.
You also have, oh well, why did the Russians? Why did they let the Russians just attack
Why
and
did they
destroy
let-
Ukraine?
Yeah.
You have all these different factions,
And then you go down to Mississippi and you got the KKK and
Hello,
old Willie
you ain't
Willie
gotta
Strong.
You ain't got to go that far.
You go up to Snohomish and you got the KK.
You go down to
So-
Pendleton, Oregon, and around that southeast Oregon area, you still have all these fights going on as far as a black person. Then you turn around and you look at all the other turmoil that's going on, and it's like, damn, we've been fighting this battle all our lives, and there still doesn't seem to be an end to it.
And what's the point of it? I've been watching these ICE agents walk into office buildings and snatch people. I'm like, the people that are taking our jobs, sitting in office working,
Yes.
paying taxes, that's who you come put in a chokehold?
Yeah, exactly.
And, man, I want somebody to just... Can't say that.
I know
But
what you're thinking.
I tell you
No,
what,
me
it's
too.
crazy to me because I've been watching these videos on TikTok. I'm watching these ICE agents shoot the media that would be like pop, just point blank range, shooting them with rubber bullets.
But still,
And
shot
snatching me. There was a lady. She was screaming. She's like, "My apartment is right there. I'm just trying to get home." They jumped on that lady, and she was a white lady. She wasn't even.
But listen, we had similar issues like the 1968 Democratic Convention in Chicago. They just randomly just people, old people, young people, damn near kids, everybody on the street, everybody near that park. Boom, they just went off. And the whole thing is, I don't recall any great punishment or restitution or anything going on there. You know, they had a few little stories in the press about this person might have gotten some money for, but I mean the whole thing is they got away with it, and they always will.
Yeah.
As far as the way things are going now, looking at the way things are. Ring, ring. Looking at, listen. I know. Yeah. Anyway, the whole thing is, these problems are going on, and we used to could at least say, well, the Constitution and fight on that, or, you know, we could appeal to the Supreme Court or what. None of that stuff's worked in the past, and it sure as hell ain't gonna work now.
So, you believe in our system of governance, right? The three branches of power. The Supreme Court should be non-political. They should just
Executive.
make decisions based on facts. You still buy into that's our system of governance, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so do you feel like I don't want to put this in your mind? The Supreme Court has been published. Fucking word I'm looking for, man.
What? Oh,
Politicized.
politicized.
Or
Yes.
do you still believe the Supreme Court makes decisions based on facts and irregardless of which political party?
You know what I do, and I get what folks are talking about now, but if you got 10 people in a room and you put a sentence down, Spot loves Jane, you're gonna get 10, and here's the book that to interpret that. You're gonna get 10 different looks on it.
Responses, more than likely.
So, okay, what about this? This guy has said, despicable, he does not believe he should have to abide by the Constitution.
Or yes, he's
The
above,
Supreme Court has backed him up on that.
he's above the law.
He has made illegal decisions that the Supreme Court has backed him up on that. Do you believe that would happen for a Democratic president?
I think that's a simplistic way to look at things, and I've actually looked at it a little less simplistic than that. In that, yes, they did say he was immune from some things in particular.
None of that shit.
Now I don't agree with it, but to take it out further, he's not going to get any more immunity than that from them.
Any more what?
Immunity, because
He doesn't need any more.
Yeah, I mean, how much more?
He's just run roughshod over the Constitution in a lot of cases, and then turned around and used the Constitution to free all the January 6th detainees. So I mean, you know, it's an interesting position, you know, that the country is in, because we can't do nothing about it. He just executive orders every goddamn thing, and away it goes.
It's really scary to me, our country today, because I'm like you, I want to believe in the Constitution and the democracy, but damn it, it's hard every day for me to believe in it when I see things happening that don't feel like a democracy, but they feel like a dictatorship.
Well, the first
well,
thing.
you know what? I understand what you're saying, but for me, this has always been my feeling in this country. Is that I'm dangling by, because things have never been, in my time, have never been straight. They've never been correct.
Well,
I've never been on top.
the first thing you have to remember.
I'm talking about me.
No, I'm just saying the first thing you have to remember is the Constitution was not written for us.
Oh, hell no.
So
And I think that's a cop-out.
it's not a cop out. You can read the damn thing.
I think it's a cop-out. I think that it was written as a basis for the people of the country. And whether or not we here, I don't think it really matters.
Wait,
Well,
time out. So, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. When they wrote the Constitution, in the time that they wrote it, with the mindsets they had,
Some were
do
slave
you
owners.
think they were considering us on the same level as them when writing this?
I don't think they thought about us.
Okay, so then that means no.
And they didn't think
That-
they didn't think about the Native Americans, although a lot of the things that are in the Constitution law-wise, they may have lifted it from the Native people that were here.
Okay, I see. They didn't think about us. So fine. Now the question is, when they implemented this and started governing according, and black people were not included. Now, obviously, you weren't there, but that don't change your mind about it being a cop-out? Just because they didn't, or you start with, oh, well, they didn't think about us. Now they're implementing it, and they're leaving us out. So at no point, you don't think that was planned? That sounds like you're saying we're using that as an excuse, even though what we're saying did actually happen. No? Did I lose you?
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to understand why you think it's a cop-out that we were left out and not thought about.
right.
A cop-out on whose end? Ours?
No.
On whose? Well, then I really don't understand what you're saying then. Who's it a cop-out on?
Right.
Okay, let me go back, because you look like you're not understanding what I'm saying. He said the Constitution did not have black folks in mind when written. You said
Any minority.
that's a cop-out. How? That's my question to you.
Because doesn't it start out, we the people?
Yes.
but we was,
Okay. See,
But-
no.
but we were-
It
but
starts.
we
Hold on
were
a second. It starts out we the people, the words, the meaning. When they wrote it, what did they mean? Did they mean us? Do you? Let me add. Do you think, even though they didn't think about black people, you think they meant us as well?
Please, not when they were owning us as slaves.
I mean, real question. It's like, yeah. Do you think, even though they didn't think about us, but yeah, this includes black people as well.
Well, there.
I mean, if that's what you think, that's what you think. I'm just trying to get clarification.
I think they thought about us because
They didn't
we,
think-
the people, back then, we were property, not people.
There you go.
So,
Back when the Constitution was written, we were indentured servants along with Irish folks, along with some Indians.
There was some slaves.
Indentured servants, you mean slaves?
No,
When's the Constitution wrote?
wait.
1776?
No. Indentured servants are paid. They either they'll give
No,
them a piece of
1776 is
land.
when we became a country.
They'll give them a piece of land, or they'll give them something, but they're not working the fields for nothing 20 hours a goddamn day.
1619. I suggest everybody here go check out. It's online. 1619 project.
That's when slavery first started. The Constitution was written in 1787. We were absolutely still slavery and not indentured servants or even cotton or sharecroppers.
Some of the people that signed the Constitution were slave owners themselves.
yeah.
So I mean, when they say we the people, they wasn't considering us as people.
And I see when you say like I do have a stand that even though we have us as black folks, I'm gonna do this, but I mean black folks. Us as black folks have a lot stacked against us as far as people's perception of us. Mm-hmm. So we have to deal with that. But I am a strong proponent of, okay, that's there, but it's not gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. So I agree with that, but the way you're phrasing it is, it just seems like you're phrasing it in a way that's not true. Like they cared and they didn't, and we should see the silver lining. And it just, I don't know.
Right.
It's just the way you said.
I think. Look, the bottom line is, from day one until today, nothing has changed.
I agree.
Nothing has changed. That's my whole overall thing. Nothing has changed.
Okay, what day is day one?
1619.
Okay. So
we're talking over 400 years.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing has changed. Was slavery struck down? Was that a change?
A new form.
A new form of slavery?
Yeah, that's all we're seeing is different forms.
So we're still slaves, but we don't know we're slaves.
It's always been the haves versus the have-nots.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause you mentioned the blacks, the Irish, the Native Americans. Irish got held too. The Native Americans, they got, oh my God. Yeah, I don't want to get started about them. How badly they've been treated. Like, yes, we've been treated bad. They've been fucked over.
Really?
All tribes, all up and down.
Really? To the point of extinction, huh?
It's been tried. They've tried to extinct us. So, I mean, they still try, but we're strong. We're strong people. So, things have changed. But
How?
Hey, some people believe that the Israelis are trying to extinct the Palestinians.
well, yeah.
So I mean, there's all kind of that same kind of shit is going on as was going on back then.
So if nothing has changed, well, except okay, let's not say nothing. But since the it's kind of the same thing. Obviously, I have a house that probably wouldn't have happened in 1787. So
There you go.
that's a good change. But on the broad spectrum, if nothing has really changed, what are we fighting for?
Change.
Why? See, that seems like the definition of a crazy person. If since 1619 shit been popping off, and obviously we didn't, well, I don't know that because they could have been trying to fight on that boat. So let me not put that on them. Since 1619, we've been fighting for a change. It's 2025 and we still out in the streets fighting this thing. At what point do we say, man, fuck this? Or do we don't? We are destined to live a life of fighting, and that's what it is.
There you go.
We don't, because you know what? It's bit by bit. It's each one teach one. It really is. And I'll give you an example. We'll go back. 1880. My great grandfather built a house for his family on land that they got from the 40 acres and a mule. I don't know if he was there or not, but that house.
I was not there.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
Missed that one.
I wasn't there.
But
there for that one.
that house still stands today.
Okay.
As it still is part of the family.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. But you have to remember.
Wait, hold on. Let's finish the point. What?
I'm just trying to establish that each generation things changed a little bit and got better.
So
Not
things
for-
have changed.
Yeah, for the family unit. I'm not talking overall. I'm talking for the family.
No, I hear you.
Right. But
Well, now
How are you making a distinction?
That's
Because
rarity.
they're all black. They're all black people. Doesn't matter if they're family. I mean, I get the each one teach one what you're saying. Actually, what was the point? Maybe I'm missing the point of what the. Sorry, maybe I'm tripping. Say it again. Your great somebody bought a house in 1880.
Right, and it's still in the family today.
Okay.
Okay. Two of his children were able to start their own business in another part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And the branches grew from there.
Okay.
And that would be my grandfather.
Okay, I hear you, but we started this on fighting for equality and all of that shit.
Right.
Well, we actually started with what is a riot, and
Oh well, yeah, right.
I'm
as
still
opposed to a
trying to figure
demonstration
out
or a protest.
what's the difference between a riot and a demonstration.
I think Cliff said it best. The media. I don't think there's a difference.
Like,
Well, okay, no, I'm gonna take it back
you know,
because the word riot has been beat into our heads by the media, and they show us pictures of what supposedly riots are. In my mind, I connect a riot with destruction
righteous
of property.
behavior.
That's what I connect a riot to.
So what do you call it when a mob of, say, 25 people or less kick and kill other folks? What would you call that?
A group of serial killers.
Mass
I mean, I don't.
Mob
murderers.
behavior.
Mass murderers.
Yeah, they're murderers. That's a group of murderers. That's what they are.
Mass murderers.
Well, what they call it.
No,
Is
but
it-
see, okay, but that's watering it down because two different things. If there's destruction, okay, there's destruction. If there's killing people, that's different than destruction. I'm sorry, I see two different things there. I see people rioting, and I see somebody murdering.
How about a mob of people pulling people out of their houses?
That's a mob.
and they're kidnapping somebody.
That's what mobs do.
That sounds like kidnapping. If
that's-
a bunch of white boys came up to my door and
That's-
dragged me out, I'm being kidnapped.
That sounds like Tulsa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I,
You know, a mob going around destroying. They're destroying and murdering.
and again, this is all media based because we say the word mob, which could be interchanged with the word gang, which could be interchanged. You know, and all of these. You know, so I don't care what you're called. Are you supposed to be here doing what you're doing? Just like, I don't care what you call yourself fairy gods. I don't care.
But the whole point is the destruction and the loss of property, loss of life. Doesn't matter what you call it; it's still the same situation.
And even talking about riots and destroying property, like I don't go to many protests.
Yeah.
I have, but I don't go to many because there is that aspect looming sometimes of, well, shit could go left. Me, I do not have the spirit to go throw bricks through windows. I don't have it in me to throw stuff at cars unless I'm in traffic and I'm cut off. Outside of that, I don't have it. Hey, traffic be different. I'm for all the smoke in traffic.
But then you
Slowly
had,
I turn.
but then you had the folks. Then you had the folks that are looting and taking advantage of the situation. Missed. He was gone. he was gone right before he
Saw you coming
I'm
up
saying,
my way.
that's why I tried to go slow. I was like,
No, I got $1,000.
I was about to say, they got eyes on the wingtips.
You know, the fly swatters actually.
Oh, we about to get one of them electric ones.
Anyway,
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
salt shooters. Anyway,
My dog will be around.
but anyway, like I say, social unrest.
Yeah.
You call it social unrest. You could call it straight out destruction of property. You have people that use those particular situations to loot and
Exactly.
break into businesses and take shit.
And that's what I hate about people is
You know?
I could be all for the cause.
Right.
What we here for, hey, I'm with it. Fight the power. But not always. But a lot of times there just be people there with other objectives.
They've got.
I want to steal. I want to. Dad might feel this one. I want to throw a brick at a cop. I want to, there be people around that be like, yo, why are you doing this?
Well,
Which is a big reason why I don't go to these big public things is because even though I agree with the sentiment, I can't get with the outskirts of either people who are going to do something crazy or the people that are on the other side of it that'll show up, dressed up and causing, it's like I don't want no parts of it.
But there have been cases where the powers that be, the authorities, start the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, So then, are you going to say, well, the police rioted? I never seen that in the media, but I've seen that happen where the police just all of a sudden just go fuck it and just charge into the crowd and just start beating people.
Well, I mean, for forever, the cops have planted people to do this shit, to have a reason to go fuck with the people there just to protest. So,
of course. I mean, there's a lot of times where these situations were set up by the powers that be.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, it's an ongoing, never-ending battle.
It's America in 2025. Well, real quick before.
Oh, yeah.
I've been thinking about an answer to you for what's a riot. To me, a riot is when people have said, I've had enough. Right? I just had enough. I'm tired of you messing with me. And they blow a gasket. That's what, to me, a riot looks like. To me, a mob is whatever you want it to be that wants to gather steam with more mobsters and go mess with somebody They don't even need to have a cause.
Well, that's
You know.
well. Therein lies the term mob mentality.
Yeah.
One, two, or three people do it, and then the rest of them, all of a sudden, now, regardless of what values they had, all of a sudden now that's the right thing to do. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Actually, I like that. Yeah, mob don't even necessarily need a reason to be together. They just amped up.
Yeah.
And a riot, at least at its core, is people. It's like, oh. Now, one thing I never got,
Violent,
which is also one of the reasons I don't be participating in all this stuff. Why riot and tear down your own neighborhood?
Hello.
Because you don't own it.
But you use it. You don't own your house. You gonna go fuck it up?
Fuck it up.
Like the corner store that you visit every 2 days. You mad about something that ain't got nothing to do with these niggas. But you walking down the street, I'm mad, and you rip the doors up. For what? If you gonna be destructive, I have always felt this. My nigga, if you gonna be destructive and like that, fucking go to somebody else's neighborhood. Find out. I can't say that. But go somewhere else. Why destroy your own shit? I don't get it.
Because they let you. Those neighborhoods are very well protected.
Yeah.
So they let you destroy your own shit. It's the damnedest thing. But they did.
Which again does not bode well for our people and our smarts. Because that's fucking stupid.
I've never understood that. You know, it's like the riots started. It's like when Dr. King was assassinated. Okay, there was riots all over America, and they just tore up the inner city where they live.
Some people use it as an excuse to get a new TV and shit.
Well,
It has
shit,
nothing to do
that's
with
real.
That's the looting.
And I think that's something that we as black folk don't talk about or don't like to address. Is we can stand on business for some things we want to protest. Cool. That's all great. I'm with that. No problem against that. But we don't be shaming the motherfuckers that come out and kick in the electronic stores and the Targets and all of these stores and come running out with arms full of stuff. It's like, yo, what? And which leads me to a question I asked, like, why even try? If this is what's happening every time we try to do some shit, why are we continuing to do this? There hasn't been a change.
Nope.
Yeah.
So what is the point?
Police is just as brutal as they always was.
Yeah.
I love black people, but y'all be pissing me off, bro. Not y'all three, these niggas.
I was getting ready to say,
I was like, oh,
Right.
I want us to win, but it's like fucking dumb.
So yeah, that brings up another topic for another show.
Yeah.
What happens if we win?
Right? Look, I don't know, nigga.
Anyway.
Okay.
It's about that time.
Yeah, I just got to say that through this show, a change has come over me. A change will let me be for a reason. And next time, it'll be another change.
All right, we changed for $1. What kind of change we talking
That
about?
change for $1 to change my
People
draws.
are changing. Change.
Change.
Anyway, before we go, I need to get this out real quick. The COVID experience has come back.
I know.
There's a new form of COVID out there. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is it's too early to panic about it, but do be aware of it, which means when you go somewhere, protect yourself, wear your mask, don't let nobody shame you, and don't rush out to get a shot because they haven't proven the shots are effective yet, but just protect your own ass. So now, if you've been exposed, if you're an older guy or lady, if you've been exposed to COVID before and you didn't get sick, you keep doing what you're doing. But if you've never been exposed to COVID and you feel sick, take care of that shit right now. Don't wait around talking about it's just a cough. You know, Or
true.
don't come over to my house and touch my door. Don't go to Safeway
Oh,
where I
okay.
shop and
Yeah.
start touching shit.
Right. It just, you know.
So I'm Gary, your personal street philosopher, and
Hey,
thank you.
I'm the real Cliff Barnes, and I want to say I thought this was a very stimulating conversation, and we will be having more. And if you liked it, tell everybody you know, all your friends, relatives, people you run into down the street. If you like it, tell them about it. But if you don't like it, just keep it to yourself.
Don't want to see you.
As I
All
say,
right.
goodbye
And next
and
week,
stay safe.
we're going to be reviewing the movie Sinners.
Oh yeah.
All right, so y'all come in for a live talk about the movie Sinners. All right.